Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to Lockdown Lessons Part 37. With me today, I've got Daniel Fellows from Get Optimal. So firstly, I'd just like to say a big hello to you, Daniel.
Hi, Phil. Thanks for having me. It's great to be great to connect with you.
No problem at all. Happy to help. So for people that actually don't know who you are and who Get Optimal are, perhaps you could just give us a short idea of how Get Optimal help people.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everybody. My name's Dan Fellows. I'm the founder and CEO of Get Optimal. We're a UK-based global technology company and diversity and inclusion provider. We have a single point technology solution which optimizes job ads for search engines. From my time as marketing director at Indeed.com, I know a great deal about this hugely neglected global area.
Fantastic. That's a great summary, Dan. Thanks very much. So if we could go back to sort of March last year, if you can remember that far back, obviously we were going into lockdown at that point. At what point around then did you think there might be a problem commercially?
When you lose 50% of your customers, that's quite a quick indication. We started during Brexit about 18 months ago. So again, we've ridden a couple of large waves, being Brexit and then obviously the global pandemic as well. Thankfully, we've got an incredible product and there's a large demand for our business, but clearly having not had this ever in anyone's lifetime, people were scrambling. And again, from a context perspective, a lot of our partners, a lot of other businesses that have been established for 20, 30, 40, 50 years were also losing, which doesn't make it any better. But also you know that it's not just yourself, that folks are tightening belts. As an example, our largest client furloughed pretty much 90% of their staff. And when we say 90%, we're talking about 500 recruiters, which are effectively the main users of our technology. Get Optimal's bought on an annual license. So again, you know, we paused a lot of licenses because that was the right thing to do. And then we reignited them when they came back. We didn't want to just take the monthly revenue. We wanted to pause it until they're actually going to use it as well, because we believe if we do the right thing by businesses, they'll also do the right thing by us in the long term, which as it is showing at the moment, we're getting around 100% retention of our clients. So a good success there.
That's a brilliant story. I think I've noticed this actually. The people that have actually looked after their customers during the last sort of 18 months or so have been the ones that have done really well at actually retaining and gaining new clients at the moment, because people remember how they've been treated during the rough times. Yeah,
for sure, absolutely. And you know, it's my company, Phil. We're a bootstrap startup, or we were till we got our Series A funding. But it's also a vocation. You know, it's also something we've been passionate about for 20, 30 years, about driving a much more democratic process within the job search and also the job application as well. So we're about helping people get the jobs that they want and get the right jobs from any background, from any community, any ethnicity, any sexuality or disability as well. So yeah, it's quite simple, isn't it? I'm sure you do it in your business coaching. Treat people how you expect to be treated.
Absolutely, absolutely. So obviously we're casting our minds back to March, April, May last year, and we went through a difficult time. A lot of people lost customers or had customers that put on pause overnight. What wins have you actually seen over the last sort of like 15, 16 months or so, Dan?
It doesn't stop you planning, doesn't stop you revising your strategy, assessing your technology stack, and also building your brand and clearly your product. So there were the key areas that we focused on. As a startup, we're incredibly focused on the three key strategy areas of the business. So we drilled down into that, made obviously continuing the product iterations around the artificial intelligence and machine learning, taking on all levels of feedback from our clients in New Zealand and Australia, Canada, North America and the UK. And again, just being incredibly focused on what you do. A lot of business success is around timing. It's also around product, but also it's around persistence and resilience as well. So I think the pandemic has shown people really what they can achieve and the levels of resilience that they can find as well. And I think that's been true for me, for my peers, and obviously for the team at Get Optimal.
Good stuff. So in terms of the recruitment industry over the last sort of 4 or 5 months, what changes have you actually seen in the industry?
A realization that you can trust your recruiters, that they don't have to be in the office at 8:30 to a 5:30 Monday to Friday, that actually they are more happier, not doing a 2-hour commute each way. They can work from home if they're trusted. That's the problem with recruiters. They tend to micromanage hugely. They don't trust the teams that they have. They've started to adopt technologies like Get Optimal, job ad optimization, whether it's an Odro for video interviewing as well. But and again, this is casting aspersions, but a large majority of recruitment companies are run by people that have been in that business for 40 years, and they still use a Rolodex. You know, they don't think something like Google, for instance, will actually make a difference to the world, which is clearly absurd as well. But they're starting to adopt technologies to enable their teams to work more efficiently from an output perspective, but also from a financial perspective as well. So adoption, I think, bringing in different people, different backgrounds, different viewpoints, trying to make the workplace a lot more inclusive. And I think the fact you can work from home makes that much more achievable, because if you do have whether it's visible or invisible disabilities, then actually, you know, you can be applying to a lot more jobs that you could do before, because now you've not got to spend an hour and a half trying to get into an office, and potentially that office doesn't actually have, you know, maybe the doors aren't even wide enough for your wheelchair as well. So yeah, I think definitely people and technology, and you're looking at driving efficiencies, which have been long overdue.
Absolutely, and it was interesting. So I met your colleague the other week, as you know, and it was really interesting to see how job ads can be sort of subconsciously written with a bias towards a specific gender or against disability. And when you've written the job ad, you absolutely did not mean to do that, but unfortunately that can happen, right? But as I understand it, Get Optimal can help people, can help reformat job ads to actually make sure that they're more inclusional, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think we'll see in time. There's no such thing as unconscious bias. Unconscious bias is an excuse. It's almost, you could say, a curtain of complacency. What we have is conscious exclusion around so many different industries as well. And what Good Optimal does, we remove that bias from job ads, whether it's age, whether it's race, whether it's gender, whether it's sexuality. We look at 71 different elements within the job ad as well. And the simple thing is, Phil, that if you're hiring a much more diverse, inclusive workforce, your commercial, your bottom line is going to improve. Your retention of staff will improve. Your products, your services will improve. You can find any number of reports from Bain Consultancy, from McKinsey, from all of these global organizations that show it increases the commerciality of the business, be it's the right thing to do. But again, you're going to be having a much more happier, more successful, more output-driven organization. So it's not, oh, I've got to do this. Well, you're telling me as a business owner that you can't find the right quality of candidates. Well, you're excluding 51% of the workforce, which is women, by putting too many bullet points as an example. But also, you're not looking at cohorts. We talk about backgrounds, we talk about race, religion, ethnicity, sexuality, and accessibility. So by writing horrendous job ads, by copy and pasting and plagiarizing job ads, which is what 99% of the country does, and it's not their fault because everybody does it, we can help you today make that change and driving much more quality of hires into your business.
Fantastic. You explained that really well, actually, and a lot of people won't be aware that a company like yours is actually out there and can help them. So I think that's a brilliant, well-timed interview, actually, I think, really. So in terms of the changes that have been enforced upon Get Optimal over the last 15 months or so, Dan, which changes would you say you're going to actually keep going with, and in any way are you going to go back to the old format of working together and doing what you used to do?
Obviously, you'd expect me to say this, Phil, but we're a very inclusive, progressive business. I've been a technologist for 15 years. I would hope I've been working in a relatively efficient way. Human beings for centuries would often spend 12 hours a day sitting around a fire, talking, telling stories, creating, drawing, writing, challenging each other. It's very unusual for human beings not to have that human interaction. Actually, from a health perspective, from a well-being, we need to interact physically with people to enable us to feel happier, to enable us to feel included, to enable us to feel part of something. So we meet up, the Good Optimal team. We have teams obviously globally, so it's not possible, but obviously we meet up every couple of weeks to check in on teams, because again, it's important that you check in on your people. I'm not saying you give them a call at weekends, but also it's quite hard to be invisible online. It's quite hard to sit back in one of these calls if you're having a meeting with your team and not notice that Alison's actually been quiet for a couple of weeks. You know, she could be having some issues, or maybe David is being challenged, and maybe like my nephew, he lives in a shared house without a lounge, because that's what you kind of do in London, and every day he gets out of bed and then sits at his desk. He doesn't leave his room. So I think it's incredibly important to look after people's mental and physical well-being, and find that balance. It's not for me to dictate what my team should do, where they should be working. They need to tell me what's going to work for them, and then we collaborate and come together and make sure it's a solution that can help our business continue to grow, but also to drive the happiness of the people that I work with.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think someone said to me about 6 or 7 months ago, really, we shouldn't be calling it social distancing. We should be calling it physical distancing, because if there's a time we need to be able to communicate, is now more than there's ever been a need for effective communication within the workplace, right?
Absolutely. And yeah, thinking back to interviews, back to the explosion of video. Some people don't like being on video. Some people don't want their kitchen, their wall. You've obviously got a mock-up behind you, but
absolutely,
we're in a very judgmental culture. So actually being on video it's even more. You know, you need to. Are you okay if we have this video on? Do you want me to send the questions ahead of the meeting or ahead of the interview, etc., etc.? So, you know, we've got to think past our own daily obsessions and, excuse me, what we need to do to help other people.
Absolutely. So, okay. So just the final two questions then, really. So if anyone's actually watching this now and wants to find out more about what you do, firstly, before I ask you for how they can get in contact with you, what would your sort of ideal customer look like? Who are the people that you're best able to help, Dan?
Everybody, Phil, you know, from the mums and pop shops who are hiring 2 or 3 staff a month, up to global staff organizations like Adecco, maybe direct employers. We work with very small businesses and we work with very large businesses, as I say, globally in all English-speaking customers. Again, we'll come back to that word around inclusivity. It's at the core, it's at the DNA of what Optimal is about. So we are also working with organizations in terms of helping them, charities. We're also working with associations that really share our mission and also our vision as well. So we don't always look for that commercial output, but also, you know, we're part of a much larger organization, which is helping to make the world of work accessible for all.
Good, fantastic. That's really helpful, and it's good to know who you're looking to meet and who you can help as well. So, if the people on this call want to contact you right now, what's the best way they can contact you or get Optimal, Dan?
I'm pretty available. LinkedIn, Daniel Fellows, www.get-optimal.com. Yeah, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of those polluting social networks. But yeah, just reach out. You know, I love to learn. I love to listen. But again, we're here to help and to automate that job optimization experience, because 99 out of 100 recruiters, what's the one part of the job that you hate? Writing job ads. So, you know, there we go. But thank you for having me, Phil. It's great to chat to you.
No problem at all. Pleasure having you, Dan. And yeah, catch up soon.
Thanks, Phil. Bye.
Take care. Bye.